Hey, it's Chanel here with another SewBit. Today we're talking about buttonholes. Those are the little stitching parts that go around the slit in a fabric so that you can use a button. And it guides, the button goes in there, flaps out, and it locks one piece to another, something like that. You see them a lot on your jean waistbands. And then on the shirt bands. So we don't see them a lot anymore because we're wearing so many knits, but they're out there. You know, even on cuffs, they're all over the place. Buttons, and we love buttons. This used to be full, and I even found this today. That's such a pretty little button right there. And I'll have to do another SewBit on how to sew on a button because it's surprising how many people don't know how to sew on a button. It's crazy. Anyway, if you don't, just take it to the dry cleaner, you know. But if you're watching this, you probably don't know how to sew, so you probably know how to use a button. But look, they come in all different sizes and shapes. They come in little cards with, this is a shank button right here. And then this is the 4-hole one, so you gotta go up, down, all of it. But buttons are fun. They come in all different kind of sizes. And, but you gotta learn how to do a buttonhole so you can use the buttons. So, I'm going to show you how to do that. First, you're going to need a buttonhole foot. My machine happens, this is as simple as it gets. You just click this on. You actually can measure the button size through this thing right here. It goes like this. You can just put the button in, clamp it down. How's it work? Like that. Like, it stays in there. And you can actually use it. This one actually, it stays better when it's backwards. I tried it the other way. But move a couple dials on your machine and voila, you get a buttonhole. Then you use this little gadget, the seam ripper. I have a whole SewBit on using the seam ripper because my students surprisingly didn't know how to use this. You know, what are you gonna do? But if you, yeah. So you just open that up right there and you just try not to slide through it all the way. I've seen that happen so many times. So, and then be sure to pull out your directions on your machine because my machine is going to be a little bit different, but I'm finding that most of them nowadays are fitting using just one simple tool. Back in the olden days, they had big old gadgets you had to pull out to set up and everything, and it was a mess. It was really hard to do buttonholes back in the 80s and 90s. Oh my gosh. So get out your directions and have them close by too, because if several months go by and you don't do a buttonhole, you're probably going to forget how to do it. And then just pull these back out again and you can do it. So now I'm going to show you how my machine makes a buttonhole. Okay, first thing we have to do is change the presser foot. So this is the buttonhole foot that comes with the machine. And actually what you do is you find your button size right here and you put it in the little tray and you close it up. A lot of times it holds in there, but this button doesn't, so I'm just going to take it out. And this actually tells the machine what size to do your buttonhole. So you're going to just snap that on here like that. And then on this machine, it has this little push tab right here that you have to use every time you do a round on it. And then we're going to put it on to number 1 because the machine buttonhole is up on 1. Put 1 here, and then in between the 1 and the 1.5. This tool here is also if it's kind of like helps it tighten each part. When I was playing around with these buttonholes, I had to kind of tighten the left side a little bit. All these little gadgets you got to use. And then also on the width button here, I put it to the widest zigzag. So you could actually make a really narrow buttonhole, but I wanted to do the wider one. So put the wider one on. Then you're just simply going to put your buttonhole. First you'll mark where you want to put it. And then you'll line it up. And then you just hit the gas. And it actually... make sure I push that back too. You just actually don't even have to touch it. It just goes all by itself. It turns. And then right here, I'll look at how much thread went over it. And if I want to do another run, I just push this back again, and it goes back again. You can see I shifted it off a little bit. The buttonhole, just like that. Lift it up, take this out, clip it off. There's your buttonhole. It's pretty opaque, looks pretty good. Now you got to open up the buttonhole, and one way you can do it is through a seam ripper. And you just open up right there. You just make sure you don't slide all the way through. I've seen that happen so many times. And you just do that. Then your button fits right through the buttonhole and would get stitched on like that. So you don't want it too loose or too tight. If it gets too tight, it gets all stretched out. Another little gadget that you have is, this is called a buttonhole cutter. Just a little piece of wood, and then this is a little blade of some sort. You just put that on the wood here, and then you cut it. I've used this. This is years old, so I'm thinking I just use the seam rippers nowadays because they're actually sharper. But this is just a blade right there. And that prevents you from going through with the seam rippers. So dangerous. And there, it just cut that. So it's just a blade, and that one is working really good too. So that's how simple the buttonholes are. But you just have to look through your manual to see how they work, because a lot of machines will have all different kinds of buttonholes up here too. They'll have keyhole ones and rounded ones, kind of cool designs. My machine here just has the one, but they're pretty simple. Well, that was easy. Did a bunch of buttonholes in the matter of minutes. So be sure to practice using the buttonholer, and especially do a run and a practice on the scrap of fabric that your garment that you're working on is in, and definitely do a couple practices before you go putting it on your outfit, because if it ruins it, they're really hard to take these out. And also get a fresh needle, because that machine's going really fast, and you want a good, nice, fresh, sharp needle when you do buttonholes. And do a couple practices. Promise me. Anyway, see you in the next SewBit.